All right, welcome everybody to the weekly Monday Mastermind. We'll get all your help, get your questions answered. If you have any questions, just post in the chat or you can come on video and we can work through anything you need. Not a whole lot going on this week, getting ready for, Halloween. All the stores have the Halloween goodies in, so, that's a great place to start. You can't send any meltables until October 1st, but I would have them ready because it gets pretty fierce if you've never done Halloween or Christmas before. So if you want to get the fast-paced items, you got to get them in, be the first one in, or the price is going to drop quite a bit. So if you're trying to sell M&Ms, don't buy 1,000 bags of them because your returns drop to basically nothing. So let's get into the questions and we'll see where it goes from there. You have some things for me, Valerie?
I do. I'm going to start from the top and go down just so that I don't lose track. But
Sure.
The first question from Adrienne, what is the best way to get rid of flea market inventory? She's been using Craigslist and Facebook groups, but are there any better avenues that you would suggest?
I'm not exactly sure what flea market inventory would be. Maybe things you can't sell on Amazon. Is that what we're going for?
Yeah, she said yeah.
Well, we sell them at a flea market. Maybe you can find some people at a flea market. I have somebody that I give the stuff to at a flea market, and they, they sell it all. They display it in their own booth, and then, we split it 50-50. So I basically go and drop the stuff off every week or every few weeks, and they give me whatever money they owe me, and I leave them more stuff. So, your optimal thing to do would be to try and find somebody you could do that with. So if you're already sourcing at flea markets, then maybe take a look at, some of the people you're buying regularly from and seeing if they might, sell some of the stuff you have that you can't sell yourself. That's basically the way we found the person is, we buy from them. We buy quite a bit. They have a lot of collectible toys, action figures, a lot of new stuff in the packaging, race cars, board games that we buy quite a bit from them and, sell it on Amazon. And, we built a relationship where we can now give them a lot of the things that, aren't quite suitable for Amazon, and a lot of, cheaper items, when we're buying bulk inventory by the pallet, there's a lot of stuff that, is 50 cents or a quarter or 99 cents in, in the store originally. So that's not the kind of thing that we're ever going to be able to sell on Amazon. So, we're able to give it to them. And we have several people that we're doing that with at different flea markets. Beyond that, all the completely unsellable stuff. So if we're buying a truckload of liquidation, for example, all the stuff that we can't sell and might be broken or whatever, for flea market people. And if you can't build anything with them, we also build pallets. So all the stuff that's not sellable, we just load it on a spare pallet. When we get a full pallet, we put an ad on Craigslist and also Backpage sometimes to sell it to flea market vendors. And there's some people who just have yard sales every weekend, which basically is their own flea market. So they can buy them, and we sell them for a couple $100, $200-$300, depending what's on there, and they sell them at their yard sales or flea markets or, wherever they go. There's some thrift stores that buy that way. I haven't really sold it to any recently, but that's also an option. So there's a lot of things you can do. The same way that you're buying them, you can also sell the items.
Yeah, there's some, I know in my area too, I think there's a couple apps that are national, but there's some apps you can look for too. Like we have OfferUp up here, and I mean, any of those avenues too.
Right, and that'll show, if you're trying to sell items one at a time, that's good for that. But if you're trying to sell in bulk, we have OfferUp too, which if you have some good items, that you want to sell, I believe that one shows, am I right, Valerie, that it'll show you all the stuff that's around you. So you list it,
Yeah.
and anybody who's buying, it shows that everybody who's within a few miles of them.
Right. Right.
So
Yeah.
they have that for
Yeah,
all the phones. That's really a good, might be a good tool if you have some better items, maybe big items that maybe aren't worth shipping to Amazon. If you have a 100-pound air conditioner, after the packing fees and the shipping and making sure it doesn't get dented on the way, it might not be worth the hassle to send it into Amazon.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Adrian, hopefully that, hopefully I'm saying your name right, but hopefully that answered that. If not, just post back in the group. So Tony, he's got like a couple part question, but one, how do you deal with hazmat items when buying liquidation? He recently bought a couple of items that had no idea that they were hazmat, so he couldn't send them in. And then two, his FBA shipments are getting to the 100 item range, and it takes a lot of time. So most of what he does is multi-packs. Any time saving things you do that would help for that?
Yeah. Well, for hazmat, hazmat's horrible. I hate it until recently because I did the same thing as we just talked about with flea markets. I was lucky enough to find somebody locally who's approved for hazmat. I've only ever even heard of 2 people that are approved to sell hazmat. So, we had thousands of items listed. So basically your only option is to merchant fulfill it. So, we were buying pallets of cosmetics for a while, when the price was right on them. Everybody's just, wants too much for them now. But so we were getting a ton of stuff, all nail polish, anything in there, aerosol can, any hair color, dyes are all hazmat. So, we had a ton of that. So what we were doing was we were merchant fulfilling it ourselves. So I had somebody full-time basically listing and fulfilling those orders. And it would take, we'd get 20 to 30 during the week. And then on Monday over the weekend, we'd have over 100 orders we were merchant fulfilling. So it was almost a full-time job, between listing, pulling, and shipping all those orders ourselves. So the only option that we found until recently is to do it ourselves. And that's what we were doing, or you can sell it on eBay. You just have to ship it crowned. And some of the stuff that was a little damaged or maybe had a little piece of nail polish or, wasn't perfect, we would sell on eBay. We just put it together in lots. So those are really the only options that we found for hazmat. As for shipping, scan power. I mean, if you watch my YouTube videos, you'll see my post where I show you how I ship. We ship thousands of items a week sometimes. I've shipped 5,000 items, in 1 week with just a couple people helping me by using scan power. Because scan power, I don't know if you use it, Tony, but it does one thing that sets it apart from everything else. Apart from all the other things I like about it, scan power, every label that you ship, it tells you what warehouse it's going to. And it's also, it also requests the information as it goes. So if you use Inventory Lab, it doesn't, it tells you where it thinks it's going, but it doesn't really know until you hit that button to send it to Amazon. We use Inventory Lab for some of our clients for doing, doing fulfillment for them. So I actually have about 10 different Inventory Lab accounts from the different people I use. I really don't like it, but we use what they use. And those warehouses move around a lot when you're done. Scan power, every time you list an item, it requests that information from Amazon, and it prints the information right on the label. So, the way we do our orders is we list it, it prints the labels right on it, and we put it in the box it goes to. So we write, maybe CVG3 or you know, AVP or whatever warehouse it's going to. We write those on the boxes. So as we do 20 or 10 of an item, we put it in those boxes using ScanPower. And then we go ahead and we tape the box. We write the warehouse it's going to and the weight. And then we're completely done with it. So when we're done, we you know, we close out the order and we print the labels and we make a list, and then we go into Seller Central and we print all the labels and put it right on there. I mean, so that saves so much time. We used it before they did that, and then once they did it, I mean, we, you know, it probably at least cut our time down in half. You know, so I think that's really the best thing that we've seen for cutting out our time, you know, and create a workflow. You know, you know, I've done some warehouse tour videos, and, you know, the items come in one place, we list them, and they go the other direction, and it just basically makes a big circle around our warehouse, you know, until it gets into the boxes. So when we use ScanPower, you don't have to double handle anything, and, you know, we basically sort it and we list it, put it right in the box and close the box up, and we're done. You know, I don't know what you're using, but if, you know, you're using Seller Central, you have to triple handle at least everything, because you have to list it, and then you put it back on the shelf, and when you're done, you print the labels, and then you have to find, you know, the labels, and you have to find what box it goes into when you're done, and it's just, you know, a ton of extra work. So, you know, that's how, you know, we've really grown to where we are, is by using ScanPower. And I mean, if you haven't tried it, you know, we have a code for a free month. You just use my last name, Mayo, in all caps, and you have a free month. Just like Inventory Lab also has a free month trial right through their website. So, you know, you can try both of them, see which one you like better. But I definitely think ScanPower is a better option.
All right, so Sidra, they just found a VA to post ads for coupon stockpiles.
Right.
Once they find a good stockpile, how do they negotiate the price, $1 an item, so forth? So.
Okay, well, if you also watch the video we did for the Mastermind group on that, what we do is it's no different than going to a store. So if you're going to go meet them, it's the same as going to Walmart. You're going to go in there, you know, you should have already explained to them that, you know, you're a reseller, no reason to hide that, and that you're going, you know, if you like what, you know, they have, you're going to buy everything that they want to sell. So you look at the item. What I do is if I see something I think I might want, I ask them how much it is. You know, same as if you were looking at the price tag in a store, and then you scan it. And if you don't like the price they gave you, I tell them, you know, what I can afford to pay. You know, if they want $4 for something, I say, well, I can only afford to pay $2.50 for it. You know, they're either going to negotiate with you, they're going to say they can do that, or they can't. After a few times, if you see they're not going to change the price on anything, you know, stop asking to negotiate. But, you know, scan into everything you think you can sell, you know, ask the prices, and, you know, that's all we do. You know, it's real simple. You really can't go in there and say, I'll give you $1 for everything, because I'm sure they've seen a lot of people who have said that. You know, they're trying to make some money, you're trying to make some money. And if you can find people that are, you know, understand what you're doing, you know, you understand what they're doing. It takes a lot of time to coupon. So, you know, don't try and undercut, you know, and get the stuff for free. Just because they didn't pay anything for it, you know, there's a lot of time in it. Just as like there's a lot of time in what we do. You know, if you can work out those relationships where, you know, they're getting something out of it and you're getting something out of it, I easily find items, tons of stuff that I can double my money on. So if they can make a little money out of it, then you can also, you know, make a good profit. Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Over time, they're going to, you know, the ones that I've worked with, you know, now call me before they ever buy anything. because they know the kind of things I want. So if they have a deal, they can get 80 or 100 of something. They can call me and see if I want it before they ever even have to waste their time buying it, because they know it's already sold. So, you know, once you make some deals with them, they're going to learn that, you know, they can just keep going to you, and they won't have to worry about doing yard sales or flea markets or, you know, posting on Craigslist, trying to find somebody to buy their stuff. They'll already have it sold before they ever have to buy it.
And that's just, again, stressing even more relationship building, how important it is, no matter what avenue you're taking.
Right. Relationships are the most important part of this business. You know, whether it's, you know, people at a flea market or, you know, couponers you might find, or store managers, store employees, all these people are going to help you grow your business. You know, you make their life easier, or you put money in their pocket, they're going to come to you, and you know, you're going to be the only one getting the deals.
So Ian's question, if we're ready to move on. He's Ian, by the way. Hopefully, it worked out for your new relationship building you were doing. But he's purchasing. Yeah, good job. Or, I'm happy for you. So I just lost his spot, but he is purchasing a pallet of Target shelf pulls overstock. So what percentage would you say are sellable, non-sellable, and are these pallets usually or always profitable?
You know, it really depends where you're buying these pallets from, because everything I buy is always, you know, very profitable. You know, but you have to be picky about what you're buying. So if you're getting, I don't see a lot of Target shelf pulls, you know, really. I mean, they're almost always returns, unless you're buying clothing. So, you know, I'd be careful of where you're buying it from, you know, and I really don't know about that. But it really depends on what you're paying, because you could be paying, you know, $300 from one place and $1,000 from another place. So, you know, it depends on your cost as to if it would be profitable or not. As for what's sellable, you know, shelf pulls from a place like Target, you're probably only going to get 10 to 20% that is not sellable. You know, and it really depends on the category. You know, if you're selling, you know, like hard goods, which would be like small appliances and things like that, you know, usually most of it's going to be like a little damage to the box or something like that. And then you can either sell it on eBay or usually sell it maybe as a non-new type item. So, you know, used very good or like new, which could just be some box damage. Even very good condition, most of that doesn't even have a box. So if you have the original box, you're really way above what the category should be. You know, you have to be careful of what's shelf pulls and what's returns. Now, when you get to returns, you probably only have, you know, maybe 40 to 50% that's going to be not sellable on Amazon. You know, but the prices are way cheaper, and we're going to be doing a webinar on dealing with returns, pallets of returns that we have somebody coming on for. So I think that covers that. Now, Sidra wanted to know about private listing with Inventory Lab. The warehouses don't change. They do change. Private listing on Inventory Lab is all done offline, and it's making a guess. The live listing you can do, but it still changes. Private list doesn't even submit anything to Amazon until you're completely done. So I would probably investigate that a little more because the warehouses do change quite often.
And while you're on that, because Wendy came back after that as well and said she has a subscription to Inventory Lab, but that she has problems with it. So does ScanPower do any reporting on profit?
Yes. Earlier in the year, they actually created something called ScanPower Reports. So it's a lot similar to Inventory Lab now. You can enter your prices as you list. Everything's all in the same place. They've got tons of graphs and reports. Like I said, I would suggest anybody to just do the free trial. You know, we've been able to get a 1 month free trial with them instead of the standard 14 days. So, you know, there's no reason why anybody shouldn't try ScanPower. An Inventory Lab, if you've never used that, there's no reason to not try that, because, you know, they're free for a month. So whatever you're using, you know, give them a try, because when it comes down to it, you know, there's a few better options that I like for ScanPower, but Inventory Lab and ScanPower basically does the same thing. So, you know, it's just whatever interface that you like better.
Whatever works best for you.
Right, but you know, ScanPower definitely lets you push a lot more through, because I mean, I know how much more time it takes to do with Inventory Lab, because we do both for quite a few people.
All right, so I just lost where I was because we just had another question.
Tony Zito was talking about still using Seller Central. Yeah, I did it once when I started. Literally the first time I knew about ScanPower, but you know, I did it my very first time listing. I said I'll never do that again. So you know, I started. I didn't have any money to start, so I sold things around my house and took the profits. I signed up for ScanPower, got a label printer, a laser printer, a barcode scanner, and enough money to just keep reinvesting it. You know, and we never really got any more kind of investment money after that. We just kept reinvesting until we have, you know, several $100,000 worth of inventory at the Amazon warehouses now.
Right. All right. So Aaron, as an answer to your question, just picture like 1,000 chickens running around with their head cut off. No, I'm kidding. He said this November he'll be dramatically increasing the time he spends in FBA. Sean, can you describe your daily routine or give advice on managing a growing FBA business?
My routine is ridiculous, but you know, don't base what you're doing on what I'm doing. You know, there's a good quote: "Don't, you know, base your chapter 2 on somebody else's chapter 20," because you know what I do is, you know, I do a lot of coaching and training and helping other people. So basically, all my listing stuff falls on other people's shoulders now. So, you know, I do the sourcing and training, and we basically, I have an office warehouse manager that does all that. But advice on managing a growing FBA business, you know, just create a good workflow. It's going to be your best friend. You know, find ways that you don't have to double and triple handle, you know, your whatever. So if you're spending whatever time you're spending, you know, is it worth the $50 or $60 or however much it is for Inventory Lab or ScanPower to be able to save all that time listing? You know, I'm sure Tony will be able to tell us as soon as he uses ScanPower, you know, how many hours a week or a month he's saving. I mean, it probably costs me, you know, pennies an hour based on all the time I save by, you know, using ScanPower. All these tools are, you know, giving you back time. FBA is to take all that time away from you, so you can just concentrate on sourcing product. They've taken, you know, the fulfillment, the packing, the shipping, all the hard work away from you. So now all you have to do is go out and find stuff. And that, I mean, that's literally what I do. But when you use ScanPower, you scan a barcode and you print a label, and you know, you click on a price. You know, you don't even have to, you know, go to pages and figure things out. It's all on one screen. So you scan it, print the labels, move on to throw it in the box, and move it on to the next thing. You know, so you don't have to deal with customers. You don't have to deal with anything else. So all you can do is create that workflow where you're not double handling anything. When you buy your product, wherever I don't know how you're sourcing, but if you're doing retail arbitrage, all you have to do is you buy the stuff, put it on a shelf, scan the stuff right from the shelf, and put it in the box. And you can just take that money that you make and go out and buy more stuff. You know, that's the joy of FBA, is not having all that extra work. You know, warehousing all these items, spending time worrying about, you know, finding it and the right envelopes or boxes to put it in, like you're selling on eBay. You know, forget about doing all that. You just have to get out and find as much stuff as you can. However much, if you're just starting out, however much you think you have enough for, it's not going to be enough for Q4. I mean, the sales are, you know, are ridiculous. You know, we sell products that aren't as, you know, centric to Q4 as some other people. If you're only selling toys, you know, Q4 might equal 80% of your business. But we sell a lot of replenishables, obviously. Everybody knows me as a grocery guy. So groceries sell all year long. But in Q4, groceries also skyrocket. We sell health and beauty and health and personal care, beauty, groceries, things that people need. So when they run out of it, they go buy more. That's why groceries and the rest of the categories are so great, because when somebody runs out, they're going to buy it again and again and again. So, you know, this is what the kind of products that we sell. So our Q4 isn't, you know, 5 times as much as the rest of the year, because it's all products that people are going to continue to buy. But if you're, you know, planning on selling toys or gifts, then Q4 is great. And we also sell a lot of toys. You know, we buy whatever sells. But, you know, you're going to deal with a huge spike in sales, because if somebody's going to buy toys, they're also going to buy their grocery items or, you know, makeup or whatever products that you're selling. People are buying just a ton more of it in greater volume because they're already there at Amazon. So they're already buying other things. They're going to say, well, I'm already here. I might as well get these products too.
Yeah. Work smarter, not harder.
So, you know, what has worked for me is, you know, since I started doing this and realized what a great business it is, I've taken every penny I had and just keep reinvesting it into Amazon. So, you know, that's all you can do, is just keep reinvesting and reinvesting all your profits. You know, if you make a lot of money and then go on a trip, you're basically starting over. You know, if you spend 2 months worth of profits, then you just lost 2 months worth of work. You know, and especially if you're doing what, you know, what I say is to not buy something unless you can double your money. That means every, you know, as quick as every 2 weeks, you could be doubling your money. You know, it just depends on how fast it will sell. But, you know, just keep reinvesting that money and invest every penny you can afford. And, you know, at some point you're going to be, you know, it's just going to keep doubling. If it's every 2 months or every month or every 2 weeks, you know, your money will just keep doubling until, you know, you have more than you can spend.
All right. Are you ready for the next one?
Sure.
All right. So, how do you deal with receipts from all of the merchandise you buy from couponing?
I ask for a receipt. I mean, I'm buying same as I'm buying from a store. So if they don't want to provide me with a receipt, you know, I make my own receipt and make them sign it. You know, they have to give you proof that you bought something. You know, I've got a very good CPA, and, you know, I really haven't had anybody that said, you know, oh, I'm not going to give you a receipt. But my CPA says, you know, it doesn't matter. As long as you have a log, you're supposed to have a mileage log, which on Wednesday we're going to show you how we use Mile IQ, which is an app for Android and iOS that logs everywhere you go, and you just have to go in there and tell it where you went. So you'll have a mileage log for your taxes. If you took $200 out of the bank at an ATM to pay for this couponer, you're going to have that, and you're going to have a log of what you bought, and you're going to have proof of selling the item. So even if you don't have a receipt, you know, it's not that you know, it's not that crucial. Now, if you know, I always have a receipt book with me. So if somebody says, "Oh, I can't write you a receipt" or whatever, I say, fine, I'll make the receipt myself. You have them sign it. You put their information on it, and I put it with, my garbage bags full of receipts. So we've never really had, any issues come up. So we have proof, all the way around that of where the merchandise is coming from. That cover it?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, so Wendy, could you quickly explain from when you get items the fastest way that you get them out? Open box, scan in the program, add all items to shipment. And I mean, so what is your fastest workflow pattern that you're using to get items in and out?
Yeah, I'm reading the long message. How could you explain from when you get the items the fastest way to send them out? You get them in, open box, scan, program, and all the items in the shipment. I think I covered that, but we have shelves. We have a warehouse, but I mean, if you have a room or a garage, whatever, we have those shelves. You can buy some for $30 to $40 at Walmart. And when you're doing a retail arbitrage, you unload everything, you put them on the shelves, make rows of each item that you buy, because they might not all be in the same bag. And then when it's time to list, you take your USB barcode scanner and you scan the item, you list it, and now we're using Scan Power, of course, so you list it. It's going to put, even if it's splitting into 3 warehouses or more, it's going to tell us what warehouse. So, 3 of them might say, BNA 3 and some AVP or Oak or wherever it's going. If we print 10 items, 3 of them will be one warehouse, 3 to another warehouse. Now they're all the same FNSKU, the X00 number. But what happens is it's going to put 3 to go into what warehouse and wherever they're going. So we use the large UPS or Home Depot boxes. So it's 18 by 24, I think, and so we write in a magic marker on the inside flap that'll be shut down. We're going to write AVP on one of them and Oak on one of them and whatever warehouses that we're sending to. And we're just going to be sticking them right in those boxes. And when it's full, we close the box, we put it on the scale, we write the weight and the warehouse on the outside of the box then, and we're done with it. And that's really our whole workflow. So as long as you organize the items when it comes in, you can list them and get them ready to go. Now, if you're using Inventory Lab, again, you're not going to be able to do that because it changes often. So if you found that it never changed, do it how you need to do. But, our experience, Inventory Lab changes the warehouses a lot, and it also don't put the warehouses on there. So you either have to look at the screen, put it where it goes, and then do another one, or, wait till the very end and then look at the list and put all the items where they go. So, that's really all there is to our listing. We push a lot of products through there very, very quickly. I'm sure everybody's seen all the box photos that we used to post.
All right. So, Wendy, if you have more questions on that, you can private message one of us or, ask it in the group. So, Aaron, when you do pay sales tax, do you calculate that into your COGs when listing, or do you keep track of it as a separate expense to be tracked?
We would probably do it. I think you're talking about when we're entering it into like Scan Power Inventory Lab when we're listing. So yeah, I would put the total cost of the item. You're not going to get that sales tax back unless it's a very rare occurrence. So, we would calculate the sales tax as part of the total cost of the item. And then we would put, that cost into Inventory Lab or Scan Power or whatever you're using to track your items. And then as far as collecting sales tax, you know, we use TaxJar, of course. I don't think there's really any other option out there.
Just had a partnership with TaxJar as well, so
yeah, we have some
that would be
small discount with TaxJar. They don't give up very much. I think they know that there's not really any other options.
I think it's like 10% off. I'll look in the discount, but I think it's
right, and you have to
off and maybe an
by the year.
Yeah.
Some people recommend adding the tax as a business expense and track it separately. You know, really in the end, I don't, you know, it's going to go from one column to another column, but really when you're looking at your, you know, all your expenses are your expenses. So if it's a business expense or, you know, a product expense, it's not really going to matter. Hi. So the only thing it's going to do is it's going to lessen the price of your goods. So do you really want to look at your total goods and then lose whatever it is, 5 to 10%, depending on what state you're in? Because, you know, an item, you know, if you're paying 5% tax, you know, and you have whatever it costs you, it's going to cost you that much less if you don't have that cost in there. So when you're looking at your total cost based on your profits, then it's gonna look like it's a lot cheaper when everything you buy is actually another 5 to 10%. So I would, you know, the only real point of tracking all those goods is to know what you're spending on items, because the numbers are the numbers. At the end of the year, you know, your tax person should really want to know how much you spent total. So if it's a business expense or if it's a product expense, it's really going to just be on a different column as part of your expenses. And I really don't see how it could even be a business expense. You know, it's part of the cost of the product. You know, as far as my CPA, which has a PhD in accounting, you know, has told me he doesn't, you know, need to know how much each individual item costs. He wants to know, you know, the total. So, and he wants, all we need to do is estimate how much it's going to be for the whole year. You know, how much we have at the end of the year that everybody's so worried about. You know, you don't have to figure out each thing. You know, you can base, you know, if your cost is 40% of your sales price on the average, then you can figure that out. You can look at how much you have available at the end of the year, and then say 40% of that is going to be, you know, what, you know, your costs are for your end of year inventory. You know, so I hope that helped it. You know, in the end, business expenses are usually, you know, office expenses, and not, this wouldn't be an office expense. This would be, you know, the cost of your product.
All right, so if anybody, you know, if you guys have more questions, now's the time to ask.
Were there some questions in the group that you were going to ask?
That was Tony's, actually. Tony had the question in the group. We have somebody ask if, let me see, if it was, I think we're going to do a webinar. Oh, he wants to see, it was from Robin, wants to see demonstrations on which of the Amazon reports are most beneficial, but Todd's going to cover that in a webinar.
Right, we're going to do a webinar going through all of the, you know, all the reports. You know, I personally, I really don't waste my time worrying about this. I mean, I've had tons of arguments with other sellers, but, you know, I really don't waste my time worrying about these kind of, you know, these kind of things. I look at how much I'm selling for the day. I look at how much, I'm making. I'm worried about my payouts and how much I sell every day. I don't waste my time on reports and, exactly how much profit I made on individual items. I'm worried about, I'm trying to make as much money as I possibly can and grow my business as big as I possibly can. I'm sure that's not everybody's goal. Not even here, but for me, I'm trying to, have a big Amazon business making as much money as I can. And, I know some really big sellers and they do the same thing I do. And that is spend every moment trying to find new product to source and spend every penny they have, sourcing that product. And if that's what you do, then, you're going to make a lot of money. Don't worry about the little things. Don't worry about the individual items and poring over reports, and worrying about tax information. Spend the $20 a month on tax jar and don't waste dozens of hours every week, figuring out, what states you owe taxes to and, all the other simple questions that there's tools out there that can help you. You don't need to spend $500 a month, on tools, but use the things that are more important than your time. Your time is the only commodity that you can't get back. So take the time and, use the time to source product. Don't use it to spend 8 hours a day listing items in Seller Central. There's a tool as cheap as $40 a month to do that. If you waste $10 a week in Seller Central, then subscribe to something that'll let you do it. Everybody should have TaxJar, and everybody should have Inventory Lab or Scan Power, and everyone should have a repricer. We have a 40% discount on a $20 repricer, and we made an hour-long video showing you how to use it. So don't spend time repricing. Everybody should have a repricer. Everybody, the other guys all have repricers. So if you spend an hour repricing your 50 items, minutes after you do that, it's automatically going to be beaten or whatever is happening with that item.
And ultimately, when you invest in these products, you guys are investing in your business and yourselves. So, it's a self-investment too.
Okay, so Aaron wants to know if an item tanks to the point where you're only making 10% ROI, would you lower and sell out or wait it out? It depends on the item. It depends on how sick you are of looking at it. Because, I've dumped items where I don't even, make my money back. But, if you have a couple $100 that's been sitting there months after months and you're just waiting it out, are you going to make $2 more on an item? Are you going to make another $20 or $30 by waiting it out? Dump that money, get your money back and then reinvest it in something that, is going to sell. It really depends on how much money you have to invest, how long you want to wait it out and how sick you are of looking at it. I've had plenty of items. I just got tired of seeing it there. Dump it, get rid of it as quick as you can and spend it on something good. If you can double that money, then, why stick it out for another 5%? Okay, so you bought some bolos and now the price is tanking. So, bolos are a little different because, everybody jumps on something and then they see everyone else on it. And, two people with a repricer that they don't have set up right is just going to keep dropping the price, every hour, 6 hours, or however often they have it. So all you have to do is usually wait it out, if it's a bolo, because all those other people are going to sell out. The price is going to be horrible. Nobody's going to want to come in and compete with you, and it's just going to go up again. Usually, but each product is different, and a lot of times you can wait bolos out. It depends on how many people are in on it. If there's 200 people on the item, then it might not be worth waiting for. But if you do have 10 people and the price starts going down, they're probably going to sell out, and it may go back up, it may not, but you know, it depends on how much money you have to you know, wait it out.
And also, you know, when buying these bolos, that's why, you know, or anything, not just the bolos, with anything, always look at the history. You know, take a look at it, what it's selling, and that'll give you an idea as well of what's happening with it at the moment. If it's tanking, where it's more logically going to go to. So, you know, take advantage of looking at the history for anything that you buy. All right. Anything else? Does anybody have questions, or is there anything you wanted to bring up?
Me, no. I guess we can wrap it up if we covered everything. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll have it on replay. Thanks for coming, and hopefully we'll see you Wednesday.